This is a rump cap, or picanha as the Brazilians like to call it. You may even see it called a rump cover, a sirloin cap, or even some places call it a culotte steak. No matter what you call it. I grabbed mine from Mick out of Gippsland Premium Meats. Clearly, we just need to get it out of the packaging. And as you can see, it has a fat cap on it, which we're going to keep. But when you flip it over, and we can see all of this silver skin, we need to get this off. This will not render down. It's pretty easy. You just get a trimming knife and go underneath, angling your blade upwards a little bit. Because you don't want to be taking off too much of the meat. You just really want to be getting rid of the silver skin. And just take your time. This is not a race. Any little daggy bits you might as well take off. And I'm happy with that. And some people do like to score that. And if you want to, you can actually trim off a little bit of the fat cap. And this one doesn't really have a lot. It's only about 5 mil thick, maybe a little bit thicker in some areas. I'm going to leave it like that. Now onto the seasoning, and I want to keep it basic because I want that natural beef flavour to shine. So I'm going to go with the standard SPG, or salt, pepper, garlic. Sergeant seasoning on board for action. Enemy acquired. Preparing to salt. Enemy advancing. Reloading with pepper. They just won't stop. Finishing off with garlic. If you're not aggressively seasoning your meat, that should be illegal. Once your fat cap is seasoned all over, yes, including on the fat cap and around the sides, you can put it aside until we get the barbecue ready. Traditionally, Brazilians only use coarse sea salt to season their rump cap or picanha. I'm going with equal parts salt flakes, coarse black pepper, and granulated garlic. Now, when I season large cuts of beef like this rump cap, I tend to do it a good hour or two before I need it and then pop it back in the fridge. Now, this technique is called dry brining, and you can leave it overnight. Just remember to put it on a wire rack before you pop it in your fridge. The salt will draw out moisture from the beef. That will then dissolve the salt and it will be drawn back into that meat. This in turn will help season the meat throughout and tenderize it. Will 1 hour be as good as overnight? No, of course it won't. But I'm just giving you some options. Today I'm using this 57 centimeter Weber kettle, and I'm pairing it up with 2 charcoal baskets, and I'll be using lump charcoal today because I want to be setting up a dual zone cooking system, starting off with a temp of around 180 degrees Celsius, because I want to be reverse searing this hefty cut of beef. How I'll do this is by placing the charcoal baskets to one side of the charcoal grate and then half filling the charcoal baskets with unlit charcoal. Then I'll half fill the chimney starter up with unlit charcoal. I'll light it up. Once it's all ashed over, I'll dump that on our unlit charcoal in the baskets. Carefully put your grill back in place. I'll pop the lid on, making sure all the vents are wide open, and as it comes up to temp, I'm going to adjust that bowl vent and settle our temp at 180 degrees Celsius. Allowing any barbecue to heat soak is a great way to start any cook. That way, when you lift the lid, put your food in and put your lid back down, your barbecue will get back to temp a lot quicker. Now, cooking time for this recipe will be 1 hour and 45 minutes, and that includes the rest time. Or for those of you who like to use my beer timer, you're looking at a 4-beer cook. Cheers. Once we have the barbecue's temp all nice and settled at 180 degrees Celsius, and that Weber is now all heat synced, we're ready to put the rump cap in. But before we do, we're going to insert an internal temp probe because we want to track the internal temp to 48 degrees Celsius. I'll just place the rump cap on the opposite side of the lit fuel. And at this point, I'm going to put on a piece of smoking wood. Today, it's red wine oak. Then pop the lid back on, making sure that lid vents directly over that rump cap. That way we're drawing the heat and the smoke over it. The internal temp has hit 48 degrees Celsius, so we can get it off the grill now. Oh, I just felt movement. We can get it off the grill now. And we're just going to place it on the chopping board. And we're just going to rest this under some flexible metal for 22 minutes. Look, and I know 22 minutes sounds pretty precise, and I'll explain to you in a minute why. Now you just want to carefully remove the grill, and we want to just give the charcoal a little bit of a stoke, open up the bowl vents, and we're going to add some fresh charcoal to the top. We want this searing hot. You can place the grill back on. It is recommended that you let your meat rest for 1 minute for every 100 grams. That's 3.5 ounces to you people across the pond that can't do math. The rump cap has rested and the coals are now roaring hot. So we can put the rump cap directly over the charcoal now to sear it. This part of the cook, I'm looking for colour as we are creating the Maillard reaction. That being the crusty outer that we all look for on our steaks. And I'm just going to keep flipping it over until I'm happy with how that rump cap looks. How good does that look? And when you're happy with it, you can remove it. Understandably, the fat cap is going to create a lot more flame as that fat renders out. So, you just want to look at that and go, yum. And I think that looks absolutely perfect now. We can remove it from the grill. There's no need to rest this. We've already done that. Just grab a sharp knife and we're going to slice it across the grain. Now, if you flip it over, you should be able to see that the grain runs that way. So we want to slice it across the grain. You can actually see the grain running that way. And because if you sliced it with the grain, every mouthful would be full of long strands of muscle, and that is going to make it super chewy and just not pleasant to eat. By cutting across the grain, the muscle fibres are smaller, it's a more tender bite, and a lot more pleasurable to eat. I mean, I don't know about you, but that looks pretty perfect to me. I'll just top this off with some salt flakes. Perfectly cooked meat, super tender and juicy, some might even say moist. But no need to wait for anyone else. Dig in and eat.